Welcome everybody to Boots, Shoots, and Buckles episode 3. Today we will be featuring Colby Padgett. Colby Padgett is a former collegiate baseball player who has transitioned into the career as a bullfighter in the rodeo circuit. He played baseball at St. Edward's University, majoring in kinesiology with a major in psychology. He earned four letters in MVP. He learned four letters in baseball during high school, where he was also named team MVP. But Colby Padgett, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've met Colby. I met Colby at JD's, a little practice pen up here north in Colorado, but that was a couple years ago, I'd say, Colby, right? So, a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in this industry here?
Fighting bulls for about 2.5 years now.
For about 2.5 years. And just as I said in that introduction, so you come from an athletic background as is. So, talk to me about that baseball, the love for baseball that you've had.
Well, I didn't start baseball till I hit high school. I kind of rodeoed all the way up until then. I was a team roper mostly, and then uh, started playing baseball. Really enjoyed it, so I kind of transitioned from rodeo to that, and man, just had like an awesome time. Went to kind of a small little school, but really fell in love with the game. Played year round, and got the opportunity to go to college, do a little bit of that. Um, didn't quite go as far as I wanted it to, and so then I just kind of moved to Colorado from Texas and fell into fighting bulls.
And yeah, talk me through that. So how does one kind of get into that that part of the rodeo scene?
So I'm sure you met my brother Clay. He's a bull rider, kind of around the same area. Uh, he actually played football at School of Mines. So when he left home, he did that, and then COVID hit. It all kind of got messed up. So he went back to riding bulls. He was a state finals bull rider, junior bull rider in Texas. So he kind of went away from it the same way I did and came back. And so he just invited me one day. Hey, I'm going to a practice pen. You want to come out, bring some shorts and cleats and, you know, be a bullfighter? I was scared and I tried to, tell him, nah, I don't know about that. But he convinced me to do it and got out there, made one pass on a bull. And I was like, oh man, this is what we're doing from now on.
And just so everybody knows, so we see Colby through practice pens through the rodeos that we go to here and out, but it's always 110% with you, right? You're all go and never settling down, never kind of double thinking a shot or anything. Is that kind of something that you personally pride yourself in? Is that something you've always tried throughout all your sports that you've done?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was always kind of the smaller guy, so I had to try real hard. And, with baseball, kind of learned how to be an athlete and be coachable and all that. And so when it came to bullfighting, it just translated so well, both physically and mentally. And it's just kind of, you know, it's easy to step in there and go balls to the wall when you're doing it, because you're there to save someone else. It's not always just for you. So that for me that helps out. That's why I do it.
Speaking about that background in team roping here, so you come from a rodeo family in a way, right? Or that support has been there through your childhood.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was a single mom, but we were always involved in rodeo. The Elizabeth Stampede, she was actually on the board there for 20 years. Um, so that's just kind of where we grew up, kind of on the committee side of rodeo. Um, but that's what really sparked our interest and our love into it, and you know why we're here and doing it now.
You talked a little bit about kind of always being coachable, and especially in your previous sports. I see you around the practice pen with guys, like Andrew Gary, Christian Mills, guys that, are a whole lot more experienced per se, right?
Oh
How has kind of like that leadership helped you develop so quickly into the game?
yeah. I mean, personally, I just think it's about like putting your ego aside and realizing that, you know, everyone has something to teach you. And especially like when it comes to this sport, there's a lot of guys who say, yeah, I want to be a bullfighter. There's not a whole lot of guys that really go and do it. And so if you want to learn, if you want people to share their knowledge and, you know, give you the time of day to help you get better, you really got to prove that you actually do want it, that you're serious about it. Because there's a lot of guys who say they want it, so you got to show that, you know, you do want it, you're going to go get it.
I think kind of a little bit touching about what you said there. I think everybody wants to be a cowboy until it's time to do cowboy shit, we always say, right?
Oh yeah.
So, what about you, Colby? What was your first kind of hard knock, let's say, into the bullfighting world that you're like, ooh, oh, yeah, I gotta settle down here.
So it was actually at Tough Garcia's practice pen. I don't know if you've ever been out to his place, but it's tight. It's cold in the winter. You know, it's not always like the best dirt or the best situation or environment that you're like, oh, this is great. It's you really got to want it to go in there, step in front of one. And uh, Mason Rain, he's a high school kid, gonna be dang good bull rider. He hung up to one there, and when I went to go help him get off or whatnot, this bull hooked me up in my leg. He threw me in the air, and when I came back down, he had like a little nub horn that caught me right under my vest, right in the gut. And I got off of that, and he got out. Everything worked out, and I was hurting bad. I couldn't hardly walk. Just first real big shot, and I was, you know, do I want to do this? Is this really what we signed up for? And then and I don't know if you know Tough or not, but he's a pretty tough, pretty hardcore cowboy guy, and he looked at me, he's like, man, that was tough, that was a good deal, and that was like, oh, you're getting the respect, and from someone like that, I was like, that's why we do it.
That's why we do it. Exactly, yeah. Um, for example, for your development, kind of as an athlete, like you said, we've always been involved in kind of like this rodeo scene around Colorado, stuff like that. You have to hit the road a lot, right, for the events.
Oh
The,
yeah.
does that mean kind of tackling around with a travel buddy? What do you try to do in that sense?
uh well, the one nice thing that bullfighters get that isn't always there for bull riders is that paycheck's guaranteed. Every time you show up to one, you finish your job, no matter what, you get a check. So that helps out, helps you budget out a little bit better. Um, and then like I got a good job. I'm an electrician as kind of my day job throughout the week, and my boss is pretty cool about, hey, if you got a rodeo, just go. And so I get a lot of freedom with what I do, and I mean that's the whole point of doing it. That's the best part about rodeo is the freedom to do what you want to do and travel the country and you know meet all these
We
cool
talk.
people and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. We talk a little bit about kind of like the shared experience of rodeo and trying to get people, to experience this. It's kind of usual for us to be dealing around with bulls, stuff like that, but it's kind of third world for a lot of people here. And I wanted to touch a little bit about, I have a brother too, you see him all the time, and it's like kind of that experience of, going to all these places and kind of having a companion, that's always there, like my brother and I, we might not always be hand in hand, but at the end of the day, we got somebody that's kind of watching our back at the same time. But how's that experience been, being with your brother at all these places that you do match up with him?
Oh, honestly, it's been a dream come true. I mean, since we were little kids, all we ever imagined was rodeoing together, whether it was team roping, bull riding, bullfighting, you know, anything we could do, we always wanted to do it together. And so getting to, you know, we're not always in contact all the time. And so when you check out a day sheet before a rodeo and you see his name on there, you're like, oh, heck yeah, that's really cool. And it's always special, a little bit scary, but special every time, he goes to nod his head and I'm standing in the arena. I really get to make a big difference and for him and his health or safety or whatnot. I know our mom loves it. She loves getting to see us doing it together and all that. So it's one of the best parts about it for sure.
For sure. So, Colby, you try to focus on hitting most of the CPR events during the, what is it, like the summer season, we could say, of the
Yeah,
year.
pretty much.
And aside from that, is there any, like, what do you do tune-up wise or to, to stay mobile in a way, right? Because I bet that as a bullfighter, you kind of can't really just focus on finding bulls. What's kind of like the rest of the workouts that you have to do during the off season to prepare yourself?
Um, Definitely some cardio stuff. You got to make sure you're all there. Can't be breathing too heavy. There's no tapping out or subbing in. So a little bit of gym, uh, not quite as much as probably there should be, but definitely trying to always stay active. Um, Even if it's not, per se workouts, still going and playing baseball with my little brother-in-law or with my buddies or pick up football game or anything like that. Just trying to stay active and really just feeling good, feeling like you're real mobile and strong and can do everything that you need to do.
For example, for drills or kind of practices that you do, I see sometimes some guys working on kind of their mobility with a little cart that kind of steers them around. Is
Mhm.
that something that you also focus on? Kind of like as bull riders, it's like get on the drop barrel or focus on this, focus on that. Do you guys just mainly do that, or is there other forms of exercising?
Yeah, definitely the pushing the dummy, kind of like a bicycle with handles or a wheelbarrow or whatnot. And that helps you get a feel of how to move and everything. And then also, um, like even when I'm going to like feed horses or anything, I'm always just trying to envision it, stepping through gaps or, you know, how I gotta have my hips in this situation or that situation, and a lot of film. I mean, there's so much bull riding footage, just on the internet, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, like wherever I could find it. I'm just always trying to, you know, watch that, and then mental reps is such a huge part of it because you can only step in front of so many bulls. Um, but even at night when there's nothing else going on, you can be thinking about it, envisioning different scenarios and where you got to be and what you have to do to, do your job well and keep guys safe.
Hitting on that, I think obviously the biggest, kind of the worst situation everybody wants to be in is the classic hang up. Whether that's the horrible, American rope that just isn't letting go, a Brazilian rope that the guy flips over on the other side and he's just kind of lodged in there.
Yeah.
Walk me through kind of like the breakdown of, you've been around a lot of bullfighters. I bet is there specific differences in perspectives on what to do with those certain hangups, or it's obviously, the end goal is the same. Save the guy, don't take too much of a shot yourself. But what's that like for you guys?
Um, Definitely like knowing your partner and, having conversations about how you guys like to do it. Some guys, they like to just get a hold of the head and keep that bull moving how he needs to so you can get in there. Obviously, like guys in American ropes are more likely to hang up, but they're a lot easier to deal with. If you can get to that tail and really, put some pressure on it, generally guys pop right out and it leaves you in a good spot kind of in the well to get that bull's head and, still keep working. The biggest thing I learned from, you know, watching film and videos and then also, all my mentors and people who have taught me is you don't really want to leave your feet. You kind of want to reach up, but a lot of times when you jump, it you have a tendency to either get pushed out by the head, or if they swap directions, then you're getting kicked and pushed out of there. And so if you can sneak in and just kind of like be in your toes to get up, it tends to do a lot better. Now on Brazilian hangups, it's just it's pure chaos. It's you guys don't hang up very often, but when you do, it's bad and you just got to get in there, get a hold of something, and help that guy keep his feet and just stay safe. Because I mean, the big thing for guys is getting stepped on when they hang up, and especially in Brazilian because they got that tendency to slide underneath. It's getting hit from with the head of the bull sucks. It's not fun, but getting stepped on, that's where you break bones and have a lot of serious damage and all that. So,
Touching a little bit about that, the damage that may happen in this sport, has there ever been a certain injury that kind of lingers or is injury prone as a bullfighter? I could imagine, obviously getting hooked and stuff like that, but I see a lot of bullfighters with knee braces, taping up their ankles, stuff like that. Obviously, that's for support, those specific movements that you guys do. But is that also kind of just like something chronic that you have to deal with here and there on daily life?
oh yeah, no, for sure. And thankfully, like I've been lucky. I haven't really been injured. I mean, lots of bumps and bruises and whatnot, but nothing that's, kept me out of the arena or anything like that. I'm not a big ankle tape guy or knee brace guy. Uh, I like to have a lot of mobility. So it's kind of the lighter I can be, the more I can move, the better I feel. Um, but the big ones is like getting hit in the meaty part of the muscle. It just has a tendency to like everything wants to tighten up after that. It doesn't want to work right. And when you get that like in your legs and stuff, it's hard to fight through because not only does it hurt, but you can push the hurt out. It's when things just feel like they're not working the way they need to, it's really tough to be out there.
Real tough. No, I bet. So, for example, for yourself, Colby, we talk about how growing up, you were in the team roping atmosphere, stuff like that. Making the switch back and taking the perspective as a bullfighter, has there been a specific kind of like idol, let's say, or somebody that you've looked up to, maybe even as if that's as a kid or now that you're bullfighting?
Uh, as a kid, Benny Bob Patrick, uh, he was a bullfighter for a while. Then he went rodeo clown, and he still does a bunch of the CPRA rodeos and whatnot. He does the whole freight, all the Frasers. Um, and he was someone I knew from when I was real little, and was just always, such a nice guy. And then kind of coming back into bullfighting, get into it. It's hard not to love Cody Webster, man. Like he is the best of the best, and goes about it the right way. Good guy and all that. And then I'd say if I was gonna say anyone like that I've kind of met and been mentored by, JD Cathcart is the human embodiment of tough. That guy is all there. I mean, balls to the wall, and he'll light a fire under your ass if you're not right there with him. So you got to give him the respect for, the way he goes about it.
For sure. Yeah, no, thanks for that. Thanks for that insight for sure. And Colby, so looking up at this 2025 season that's about to get underway, is there any specific events that you're kind of targeting or things that you haven't done before that you might, be trying to reach this year?
So this year, actually this Saturday, I'm going to Castle Rock for the protection matches at Tyron Aldo's bull riding. Um, and so that's pretty cool. I didn't get to be a part of that last year. They draw guys in, didn't get in last year, so this year looking to go out. It's February, so getting that many bulls to fight in February is definitely a blessing. And then uh, hopefully the state high school finals again. I love the high school rodeos and getting to be around, the next generation of bull riders coming up, and uh, hoping for CPRA finals this year. It felt like it was pretty close last year, so really just trying to get over the hump this year and getting to go and do that.
So for Castle Rock coming up, do you have the 2 p.m. or the 7 p.m. showing?
So I'll be in both. I'm
In
fighting
both?
with
Okay.
Vinny Garcia. Yeah.
It's Vinny Garcia, gotcha. Yeah. And do you know who you're matched up with to protect for that? How
No,
that's
not
working?
yet. I don't think we'll figure
Okay.
that out till Saturday.
Till Saturday, gotcha for sure. A little bit about that. So, you obviously jumped into this rodeo scene. I mean, this is fairly young career, that you've had bullfighting, has there ever been kind of like an imposter syndrome of being like, damn, I got scheduled out to, fight today, and it's like might be the first couple rodeos I've done that, you felt a little shaky, or maybe you had to get in the groove the first couple outings.
Uh, Definitely my first year doing CPRAs 2 years ago. Canyon City, it's the first one. First time working for this stock contractor, Lee Miller Rodeo Company, and I was pretty nervous because I'd never fought a rodeo before, and that was the first one, and I was fighting with Andrew Gary, and he was like helping me out and everything, and we do so much work before and after the rodeo uh, that it was kind of like a lot of time to think about what was coming, and as that barrel racing's going, we're getting ready to go. It was just like, just don't look like you don't belong out there. Even if you messed up, just be going hard. Don't look scared. You know, got to do it. And I still think that that night was one of my best performances fighting bulls ever because I felt real locked in and like I I had nothing to prove and everything to prove at the same time, and it was a pretty cool night and a very real special moment for sure.
Regarding that sort of consistency, is there a specific kind of pregame routine that you do, or specific music that you might listen to that, gets you in that mindset of, let's start locking in now?
I usually don't get the chance to do music just because um, we're working the rodeo all the way up until that point and whatnot. But I kind of, as soon as the vest goes on and you get your baggies and your jersey all buttoned up or whatnot, it's just kind of like take my hat off and pray and then just have that inner conversation of whatever happens out there, you're there to protect guys and you got to do your job so that they can go home and keep doing their job and all that. So it's really just more of a like a personal conversation to lock in and it's showtime.
Showtime. I know we didn't talk a lot about your schooling, but so St. Edward's being a private Catholic school, does that kind of impact the your religious aspect now, especially doing what you do, or that's hasn't been too big of a factor in your life?
Um, it's I wasn't ever Catholic. I really only went to that school just for the baseball. We've been more of kind of like a non-denominational Christian my whole life, and I try to have that not just in my bullfighting, but in my regular life. And you know, one of those things, rodeo cowboy, it's a lot easier said than done, but uh, just having that time and spending it, with the Lord, whether it's in prayer or just, you know, having a conversation. We have so many windshield miles in front of us that, that's really where I feel like I get my most insight and most of the time that I get to spend kind of reflecting on that whole aspect of life.
That and the windshield miles, I think that's important to touch on. Obviously being on the road so much and going to so many events, for example, for myself, I always remember, things like going up to whether that's like Pueblo or the Utah deal, stuff like that. What's kind of like been the experience that you always go back on that you're like, what, this is like surreal, or like this is a crazy arena, or this is like even just like the drive here felt like, like a whole different world in a way.
It's cool, definitely. Like getting to be in Colorado is so cool because you can see so many different like climates, I guess. You got your mountains and your prairies and your desert and all that. So, getting to see the scenery is nice. And then usually when I get about 15, 20 minutes away from, showing up to the fairgrounds, I kind of turn off any music or podcast that I'm listening to and just try and like take it in and, you know, realize how lucky I am that I get to go and be a part of this. And every time I pull into the fairgrounds or the arena or whatnot, got to roll the window down and just breathe in that smell because there's nothing else like it on earth.
Talking about the impact that you might have on the rodeo scene yourself. So being, in this career such small amount of time and making such big of an impact, do you feel like there's a whole lot other level that you might be able to reach with this, or is it just like you'll just try to stay consistent to, making the CPRA finals, stuff like that? Or I mean, if another opportunity might open up with you, whether that's a different state or a different event, are you open to that?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to, anything. I try to make sure the people who've had my back and the contractors who have been giving me jobs since the beginning, I try to stay real loyal to them. Um, and the goal is definitely to get the PRCA card and um, get to go and travel and do pro rodeos at some point. But just trying to work through, and every year something new comes up, some more exciting event that you get to be a part of, and it's just kind of taking those steps to move up in the career and do all of that. So,
I know how kind of like, buying your pro card for the bull riding or for that side of it works, but I bet it's a whole lot more exclusive for the bullfighters, right?
oh yeah, yeah, it's a process. You got to pay just to kind of apply for it, and then you have to get people to sign off on it. And I don't know all the specific like qualifications that people have to have for signing off, but generally like NFR or circuit finals guys are the people who have to sign off. Bull riders, bullfighters, stock contractors, pickup men. You got to get a lot of people who are really involved in life and are at the top level to say, yeah, you can come. And even if you get signed off on that, you only have your permit. You have to you have to fight at least 5 rodeos that year on your permit, and then get signed off again from people at those rodeos to eventually go and get your card. So it's definitely a big process, but it's for a reason to make sure that you get the best guys in the world protecting people and making sure that they're doing their job.
Definitely, yeah. I have a just question, from my end. We always talk about, everybody says, what was the best ride, you've ever seen or stuff like that. But I'm a firm believer in, sometimes the best things we see are out in the practice pens. And, it's not in the rodeo scene. But kind of based off your experience, is there one specific that you're like, you know what, this practice pen ride was absolutely crazy, or this whole lineup at the practice pen was just hitting it off,
Um, yeah, trying to think of a specific time. Definitely like watching you guys out at JD's. There were some days where it just felt like you guys were getting on, the stuff that really bucks and they couldn't buck you off. And, it's really cool to get there, like sit there in the arena. We got the best, viewpoint to watch and see you guys just going and getting it. And then, yeah, Mason Rain's another big one that I've just seen, whether it's a school or a practice pen, like he's always going 110%. He never gives up, he never looks off or lets go. And it helps us like you really want to do your job when guys are really trying. And so that's always great to see. And then there's some practice pens where you go and it just feels like everybody's having a rough day and it just goes that way sometimes. But
we we talk about the younger generation coming up, Colby, and for example, has there been a specific person or a couple people that have been able to reach out to you now, of that position of you've gained enough experience now to be able to, know a thing or two around the sport. So, or are you excited to maybe take up, somebody under your wing?
yeah, absolutely. I think one of the great things about, bullfighters is no matter what level of guys you're out there with, like you're always learning from them. They're learning from you, even if, you know, they've been doing it for 20 years and you've been doing it for two. Um, I've had the opportunity to help out, a couple of younger guys getting into it, wanting to do it. And I'm not always like the best teacher, um, just because the way I see it, it's kind of hard for me to explain. And bullfighting is one of those things you really just you got to feel it. Um, so my big like advice to younger guys is just like watch film and just focus on every bull ride, every and what the bullfighter's doing throughout, you know, every single bull ride and what you can do to mimic those guys. Because yeah,
Yeah, no, that's great. No, great insight. So, I want to, I want to wish you good luck here at the Cash Rock event coming up next couple of days. What is it, Wednesday? Yeah, so you'll be there this weekend. I'll probably see you out there, Colby. But no, thanks for joining the podcast today. Boots, Shoots, and Buckles. We're gonna wish you good luck on the CPRA season here coming up, and we can't wait to see, what else you surprise us with. You're always doing some crazy saves and stuff like that, but thanks for taking the time today.
awesome, man. Thanks for having me on.